Adele did not worry, and look what happened to her. She reminded him somberly of her dearest friend, who relocated to London, whose charred corpse Sophie wept beside last spring. He needed no reminding, though. That night, alight with raw fury, Sophie had razed the abbey responsible for Adele's death, including its occupants, with nothing more than a flick of her wrist. In all his years on this earth, Elijah had never seen such power. It was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. He had quickly ferried her sapped body away before too many witnesses could place her at the slaughter. Still, the last messages received from abroad were worrisome. The Casters Guild knew Sophie was behind the massacre and sought severe penance for her sedition. Meanwhile, the humans hunted for a witch with hair the color of the devil's flame. Already 4 victims matching her description had perished for her crime. He could not fault Sophie for avenging Adele's death. The two shared a childhood of dashing along Paris's narrow passageways between lessons, and later youthful nights dancing through the streets, enchanting suitors as much with their alluring beauty as their mettle. Sophie's heart was ardent and her loyalty eternal. Unfortunately, when wounded, her emotions engulfed her need for self-preservation. Elijah sighed. Adele was not careful. Besides, I would never allow any harm to come to you. And what of time? Will you stop that too? Sophie knew where to aim her words to inflict the sharpest ache. The madness calls to me even now, at this very moment. I do not know how much longer I can deny answering it. He flinched, dropping his gaze to the majestic oak in the courtyard garden, dressed for autumn, a scant breeze rustling its golden leaves. Winter's bite hinted in the air. It would arrive within a fortnight, stripping the tree's beauty and imposing rest upon the earth. Sophie despised that long, dreary period, but Elijah found comfort in the visible passage of time. Beneath that leafy canopy was to be Sophie's burial spot, if their fortunes did not change, though his preference was the crypt under the chapel where he could better guard her remains. Would she even survive long enough to see the first snowfall? It was unfathomable to him that this woman, not 3 decades old, with the glowing complexion of youth and childish wildness flowing through her veins, would soon slip from his grasp. But he knew this madness she spoke of was true. He had seen it take hold of another like her many years ago, leaving nothing but a mumbling shell of the impressive elemental she once was, her hair chalk-white and sparse, her eyes worthless, her powers impotent. She passed her days as a prisoner of the guild, reciting nonsensical musings that the scribes recorded as prophecy. Though he didn't want to admit it, Elijah had begun to see worrisome signs in Sophie. Listless stares, volatile mood swings, unintentional incantations that escaped her tongue. He could not bear to see Sophie become a husk of the vibrant woman he adored. Of course, she had no plan to allow that to happen. A man stumbled out of a tavern and fell to the ground in a drunken heap directly in the path of 2 draft horses. Elijah's eyes widened, the idea of witnessing someone trampled to death lifting his spirits. At least that human's problem might rival his own tonight. He gripped the stone ledge in anticipation, watching the beast's hooves plodding toward the man's limp body, seconds away from squashing his head as if it were a ripe melon. At the last moment, 2 men grabbed him by the heels and dragged him to safety. The horses cantered on into the night. Damn those good Samaritans. Elijah scanned the streets for another person in a predicament worse than his own, knowing the chances were slim. His attention landed on a young couple in the midst of a love.